ホワイトソックスの村上宗隆内野手が、メジャーの舞台で存在感を放っています。リーグトップに1本差の15本塁打を放つ一方で、三振数はエンゼルスのザック・ネト内野手と並び、リーグトップタイの60個を記録しています。本塁打と三振の両方が目立つ豪快なプレースタイルですが、数字にとらわれない村上の姿勢に、地元放送局、シカゴスポーツネットワークの解説者、スティーブ・ストーン氏は、自分がどういう選手か本当によく理解している、と称賛しています。村上について、ストーン氏は、とてつもなく力がある、と評価しました。また、NPB から MLB への適用についても言及。春季キャンプでのエピソードを明かしています。さらに印象的だったのは、村上がインタビューで語った、数字は全く見ない、という言葉です。その姿勢をストーン氏は高く評価しています。これらの模様を日本語字幕付きでご紹介します。
Yeah, they're such a fun team to watch right now. And even last year, seeing the foundation that Will Venable laid down, they're building some real momentum here. White Sox are a game and a half behind the Guardians in the AL Central for first place. Obviously the long ball from Munetaka Murakami, Colson Montgomery, Miguel Vargas. What's really behind the power surge with all three of those guys?
You have power hitters. Montgomery is getting a bit older. Now, he's still a very young player, but he's 6'4". He's probably 210, 215. This is a strong guy. Murakami is stronger, and because of the way he hits the ball, which is kind of unique, I think you saw something yesterday which shows you how you can hit a ball. Vargas hit one, a sinking line drive, didn't make it out of the park because it died at the wall. It was one of those liners that kept on sinking. But Murakami naturally puts backspin on the ball, so when he hits the ball the other way, it doesn't come down. It keeps on rotating and goes out. He's enormously strong. I understand, as everybody else does also, he's going to strike out. He's also going to make some mistakes in the field because he's a third baseman. They asked to move to first. But his pluses far outweigh the minuses, and we have to bear in mind he's seeing these pitchers for the first time. This is a guy who will learn what the pitchers are trying to do to him. When he does, he's going to be a wrecking machine.
I was talking to Ryan Fuller at spring training, and I was just kind of picking his brain on, hey, like, how do you help a player like him transition from the NPB to the MLB, right? Because he's going to be seeing different pitches, velocity, and all that stuff. And he talked about exposure therapy, kind of having different almost pitchers on the mound to help him kind of see these pitches at spring training. But in a sense, they wanted to help him adjust better in real time here when it came to the regular season. Munetaka Murakami, obviously White Sox got him 2 years for $34 million. I mean, right now, 15 home runs on this season. How can he keep up this power consistently, though, throughout the entire year?
Power's not going to be a problem. He's very strong. And I love something that he said in an interview in Arizona.
Okay.
They asked him, which statistics does he obsess on to tell where he is at any one given time? And he said he doesn't look at statistics at all. He knows, and he's good enough, where he knows if his stroke is the way it should be, the numbers are going to follow. And that's what he does. He goes out every day to make sure that his stroke is exactly the way he wants it, and the rest of it's just going to come along. Again, he's a prolific worker, and he's enormously strong. So he can hit it out in left, center, or right. It's not a problem at all. And I see him getting a lot better. I'd like to see him sharpen up the defense somewhat, but he's made great strides, even from the beginning of the year until now.
What impresses you most about him, the power or the plate discipline?
I think they're one and the same. You can't generate power very often until you're swinging at strikes. The one thing that makes him so difficult to retire, especially in a key situation, is he won't expand his strike zone. He's content to take a walk. He realizes getting himself out on a pitcher's pitch is not conducive to putting together a big year. So he will swing at strikes, and he's going to miss a lot of them. However, when he hits them, they go a long way. And having him in the middle of the lineup helps everybody else, especially the table setters who are going to hit in front of him. Whether he hits 2 or 4 or 3, it really doesn't matter. You've got Antonacci now hitting in front of him. He's going to get on. He keeps on getting hit. That's part of his game. You have Vargas sometimes either before or in back of him. And so he's got some protection, and he also gets to come to bat with guys in scoring position, and that's the way you drive in big runs.
He really sets the tone in this lineup.
Munetaka Murakami's been one of the best stories in Major League Baseball this year. 15 home runs already, but when is he the most dangerous? He is the most dangerous in the first game of series. He's homered in 8 in a row, a Major League record. So, Ozzy, here's the big question. Will he homer again tonight and make it 9?
I wish I could say yes, but I don't want to jinx it. Because you know what? How many times I say nope?
Yeah.
Nope, no chance. The hardest thing is a hit home run. But, yeah, you know what? Nope, you're not going to hit it.
Well, Murakami's streak started on April the 14th against former Saki Yoendris Gomez. It has continued ever since. But one thing to consider is that the last series where he did not hit a home run came against the Kansas City Royals. He was 0 for 12 with 5 walks and 6 strikeouts in that 4-game series. That has been his roughest series he's probably had so far with the White Sox. So when you know that, you hear that clearly the Royals had something that they knew about Murakami, and for whatever reason, he could not go deep and actually couldn't get a hit in that whole series.
So one thing about the Royals, back when they played back home, they make those guys chase, not just him. They was chasing a bad pitches. They was swinging everything they were throwing there. I think right now they have lock it in, put a box it in, and go from there. I talked to Murakami and all this. Hey, they don't want to pitch to you. That's fine. Yeah. Take you walk. Take you let Vargas do the damage. But meanwhile, because we see him a lot of walks, that's great. That means see the ball a lot better. Obviously, that type of hitter, they're going to strike out. Yeah. But when he strike out 3 or 4 times. But he didn't strike out that much, like people think.
Yeah, and actually, I like what he did in that series, and the fact that, okay, I don't like that he went 0 for 12 and struck out 6 times, but he had 5 walks.
Yes.
How many times have we had guys come through the White Sox who just disappear for a whole series? He at least got on base 5 times.
That's what he have to do. Remember, the KC got one of the best catcher in the game. This kid is very, very, very smart. He started to play the hitters very well. He go out there and, he going to try to make Murakami chase. Yeah. High and ball, changes away. The boy's not going to be around the plate that much. Just take you when they make a mistake, just get ready to do it.
Well, believe it or not, this is the 41st game of the season for the White Sox. So we are at the quarterway mark of the year. So since we are 1/4 through the schedule, how about 4 categories to discuss about where the White Sox are, where they've been, and where they're going? First one is, what grade would you give the White Sox for the first 41 games?
I'm going to say B.
You're giving them a B?
Yes, I'm going to say B because I love the way they play. Not just because just the home runs, all the stuff we do. I think we're pitching well. They now beat themselves defensively. In the past, we like 1 inning, 3 errors, go for. And I think they play the way they should be playing. Run the base right, aggressive on the base path. Obviously, when you hit a home run, that will help. But also, they find a way without home run. The bullpen is a lot better this year. There's no doubt about it. And the biggest thing about it, the starting rotation is not being good. I should get it A, but I got to take to B.
I'm not surprised that the White Sox are where they're at because I knew they'd be better than where they have been the last 3 years, which isn't hard with 100 losses. I'm more surprised the rest of the American League is so crappy. Yankees obviously have gotten off to a good start. The Rays are playing unbelievable. And then Sacramento, the Athletics, I still want to call them Oakland. Other than that, it's not really a very good American League. So it's kind of interesting that they're alive in the playoff race with where their record is. Now, can they sustain this? I think they can hover around 75 to 80 wins at the end of this year, and they're entertaining to watch at least, which is a huge step up from where they've been. But I think the White Sox have a chance to hang around, and maybe they'll make some moves if they'll spend some money. But Murakami's been great. Colson Montgomery hits home runs. The rest of the lineup brings energy. Miguel Vargas has kind of figured it out a little bit. If you haven't seen Davis Martin pitch, tune in when he pitches. He's really, really good. Sean Burke has been really good. So I think that they're better. I think they're better probably than I even thought they would be when they get Kyle Teal back. Hopefully soon as their catcher, they'll even take another step. But it's in the right direction. And for the first time in a long time, the White Sox fans can smile and say, hey, we're proud that our team is going in the right direction.
Yeah, you said it, and I've said it so many times. Sometimes just being enjoyable to watch is a good threshold and a good standard to get to. Just get butts and seats and people have fun watching your team. But with that being said, you mentioned, right now they're in the postseason race, a lot of baseball left to be played. But what would success necessarily be for the White Sox this season?
I think being in a race for longer than April is a success already. They're already into May, so it's already been more of a success. You have to look at the last 3 years. They've lost 100 games. 2 years ago, they lost 121 games, the most games of all time. So listen, White Sox fans, I get to talk to a lot of White Sox fans. They're just enjoying the ride, and they're enjoying the fact that we can tune in and actually say, hey, we have a chance tonight, and we're having fun, and they're playing the game the right way, and they're fun to watch and tune into, that's a success already. Now, wins and losses are the ultimate indicator of how good you are. But I think if they hang around and if they get to 75 to 80 wins, that's a huge success for where they were the last 3 years. So I think this year's already been a success, and it'll only continue to get better. Now, I'd love for them to go out and make some trades. I don't think they'll do it, but make some trades, bring on a little bit of payroll, and try to actually go for this, because the AL Central, I don't know if y'all have seen the standings, is very gettable. Guardians aren't doing much. Tigers have played awful the first 2 months of the year. Royals haven't been great. And then obviously the Twins aren't even trying this year. So it's gettable. That's the one good thing about the AL Central. It can turn around quickly because a lot of the teams, they don't have high payrolls and they're trying to win on margins. And if you can beat them, you can get into the postseason.
That being said, AJ, I think we're contractually obligated to talk Dodgers anytime we talk baseball because they're the Dodgers. So let's stick with Shohei for a second. 1 home run in the last 111 plate appearances. We say on this show all the time, don't panic, it's a long season. When do we start to get concerned about the lack of power for Shohei right now?
I think it's a combination of the pitching, because he's back pitching every 6th, 7th day, whatever it is. And the fatigue it puts on your body. You have to understand I hate to say he's getting old, but he's older than when he was pitching last time. And there is a fatigue. If you talk to any starting pitcher, they will tell you, no matter how long they've been doing it, the next day after you pitch, you're tired, you're sore, your body doesn't feel the same. You just kind of want to lay around and don't do a lot. That's why guys used to run and Adam Wainwright, a guy I worked with on Fox, he used to call it the old man walk. He'd go for a long walk just to flush the body. Well, Shohei doesn't have that opportunity because he has to hit the next day. And you see Dave Roberts trying to combat that with some more days off and giving him a little more rest, and he's not DHing when he's pitching. It's a different animal. That's why Shohei, for those years when he was doing both at such a high level, is the best thing I've ever seen. Is he the best player that I've ever seen in my lifetime? Absolutely, because he can do both. But it'll eventually catch up to him, and he's putting so much effort into pitching. He's come out and said, I want to win the Cy Young. That's the one thing I haven't won. Well, if he's focusing all on pitching, it's got to take away a little bit from your hitting. And we're starting to see it. Can he turn it around? 100%. We're 40 games in. He'll probably still hit 40 homers and have a great year, but it has to take away from your focus on hitting, because the one year he just hit, we saw what he did, 50-50.